Hey everybody, how we doing tonight? We will be doing a grilled ribeye tonight with mushrooms and onions, as well as a citrus garlic asparagus that will be grilled. And we're going to start with the asparagus here. What we've got is just some good organic asparagus from Cartwright's here in Grants Pass, Oregon. We have some olive pit smoke flavored pickled garlic that we've thrown on top. We've got salt, pepper, dill. A lot of people don't think about how much dill really enhances flavors, as well as just a little bit of lemon pepper and a touch of garlic herb seasoning. As well as over here, and a little bit of lemon zest there. We zested this lemon here. We'll be using that up as well. And here is the little marinade that's going to go over the top of it for it to cook in. And this is just 2 tablespoons of good organic extra virgin olive oil, 2 tablespoons of white cooking wine, and a little bit of the juice from a little bit of the pickling juice from the smoked garlic. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and we're going to cut up this lemon, and we're going to juice half of it. The other half we'll be slicing and putting on top, and we'll be showing you that here in just a few seconds. As for everything else, we will be showing that here in segments tonight. This will be a 3-part video. So we will have Laura is going to be doing some mashed potatoes, and then we'll be doing the ribeyes here in just a little while. So let's go ahead and let's get this lemon cut up real quick here. And I'm going to try and do this without chopping my fingers off, considering the fact that I'm trying to do the camera and everything by myself right now. So hold on one second. I'll be right back. Our lemon cut up. We're going to go ahead and we're going to juice it through the strainer because we don't want the seeds in there from the juice. And this little marinade will just make it to where the fibers in your asparagus break down really well. If you've ever had tough asparagus, it's not the most fun thing in the world to eat. Alright, so we'll set that off to the side. Then we're just going to take these little slices and throw them right here on top. We're going to mix this up pretty good. And then we're just going to pour that right over the top. And then we're going to take and we're going to seal it up. If you've ever been camping and had like vegetables or something like that you've taken and made into a little basket, this is more or less the exact same thing. And now this is ready to go on the grill. We have a little vent hole here at the top. And we'll get that cooking here in a little while. Alright, so we are outside now. We got my little Blackstone griddle grill going. We're going to be getting this going nice and hot for some sauteing on the flat griddle. Again, we're going to be using a Celia's product. This is a white truffle oil, extra virgin olive oil. This stuff is pretty amazing. So we're just going to take and pour a little bit of this on the grill. Want a decent little layer there. Yo, we're losing it. Lift her up, lift her up. Let her slide back a little bit. And we're going to take and throw our onions on first. You want your griddle nice and hot to get going with. We're going to save the rest of those for the good stuff. It goes on top of the steaks. Laura's got to run and go grab me a spatula real quick because we freaking got it. And then we got some good organic mushrooms here that we sliced up. Let's go. So we're just going to let these cook until they get just a little brown translucent. Just like you would with any other saute. And just always remember when you're sauteing, you cannot saute on low heat. So make sure your grills are turned up or your hot plates or whatever you're cooking on. And these are onions literally that we grew this last year in our own garden. As I said, we try to cook as much as possible from our own garden. And otherwise, most of the produce we get is either from the organic market or from the farmer's market, which is one of our favorite places to shop. Alright, we're just going to throw a little bit of salt on here. Not a lot. You don't need a lot because this is going to go in the mashed potatoes. Doing a little bit of a fully loaded kind of thing going on. And put just a little bit of fresh ground pepper on it. The best thing you can do for yourself is get a pepper mill. So much better flavor when you crack the peppercorns fresh. Alright, now we're starting to get a little translucent here. Now, yesterday on the very first video we did, I actually made a mistake and I said opaque instead of translucent. I'm hoping most people understand what I'm talking about. Get that garlic in there. Bring the flavor out. And we're going to take our mushrooms. We're going to throw them right on top of there. Laura's already got the potatoes cut, peeled, and boiled up. So that way she's got that all ready ahead of time. And sometimes you have to throw just a little more on there. Mushrooms have a tendency of really sucking stuff up. And we want that flavor in there. Seems like we're going to be out to getting a hold of Celia's again here soon. That was the end of my truffle oil. The nice thing about this is if you've got a griddle and grill at home, the more you can do if you live in an RV, anyways, the more you can do outside on the griddle or the grill where it's a little easier to clean, the easier it is on the inside when it comes to having to do dishes and stuff. It shouldn't take but a couple minutes to have this all ready to go. You don't want to saute the mushrooms too much like you would for a steak or something like that. You want them to keep a little bit of their their stiffness when you put them into mashed potatoes or something like that. Alright, this is pretty much ready. So, we'll see you in a couple of minutes as we finish up these taters. Alright, so we sliced up these potatoes. As you can see, if you can stick a fork through it, they are done. You just want to drain them off. This is so much better and quite honestly a lot easier than like people give it credit for, in the aspect that, you know, a lot of people use crappy butter. So that was butter, sour cream. You just do this to taste. Throw in our veggies. That's the good stuff there. And then Laura's just going to mash the hell out of it.
I like to mash them up first before I add any milk or half and half, because it's easy to add too much. I think I'm about halfway done there, and then we'll add a little bit of half and half to make them more mashed potatoes.
Now the wonderful thing about mashed potatoes for us is when we have leftovers, a good amount of leftover mashed potatoes, we like to do a shepherd's pie of some sort. Or a, I forget how they say the other way, but we don't usually get lamb here, so it's not really true shepherd's pie.
Americanized.
Americanized. Farmer's pie, I think is what they call it.
This is what is a white cheddar I'm going to put in.
Good organic white cheddar. The nice thing about white cheddar is it blends really, really well with the potatoes. You don't even really notice it's in there until you take a big old bite. And it's a big old bite of just flavor. And that's a simple mashed potatoes.
And I'm just going to add a little bit of this dried parsley for a little color. And that's about it. So, you see how easy it is. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes of prep to be able to get homemade mashed potatoes going on. It's not really that bad, and it's so much healthier and tastes so much better. So we're going to get ready to move on to these steaks here in just a minute, and we'll be right back. Alright, so we're going to be using a Vintner's Kitchen steak rub tonight. So far, I've just put a little bit of olive oil on the steaks. We're just going to take and pour just a touch of this on it. It's a dry rub. You don't need much because these are really good ribeyes. As you can see, the marbling in them and everything. Alrighty. And we're just going to take these guys. We're going to flip them. Put it right on the nice hot grill. We're going to take and just put just a little bit more on the other side. Alright, and these will cook for 2 minutes on each side. Again, I use very high heat. Let's see if I can get that for you. I use the very highest setting. That way you get a really good sear on it, and then you'll turn it down just a little bit. Once you got that good sear on both sides, it'll cook for another 30 seconds on each side. And that's for a good medium rare. So we'll be back in just a couple minutes, and we'll show you what she looks like. All right, so at about 30 seconds, I went ahead and I just rotated them a little bit. So that way you get that really nice crosshatch grill mark on there. We got them flipped over here at the 2-minute mark. And here we're coming up on 30 seconds again. So we're going to go ahead and just turn it. And you'll also see that we have a little extra passenger on the grill there. That's our asparagus that we made up earlier. You want to throw those on pretty much around the same time. So that way, as your meat rests, your veggies can finish cooking. So we'll be back in just a couple of minutes. All right, so that's our 2 minutes on each side. Now we're just going to move it off to the side here. Keep it on the heat, but not the direct heat. I'm going to get it off to as close to the edge of the grill as possible so it's getting the least amount of heat from it. And we'll let that cook for another minute. All right, so because we want to keep the same flavor profiles a little bit here, this is just to top our steaks with a little bit of the onions, garlics, and mushrooms. But because I ran out of truffle oil from Vital Salts, I have an, let's see if we can get that in focus there. Well, it's a black truffle and sesame salt. And we're just going to throw a little bit of this on here just to give it that truffle flavor. And our steaks are done. So we're going to pull them off. Sorry about the fact it's getting a little dark, guys. And we're going to go ahead and make sure that this is in the center of the grill where it's getting the most heat. Go ahead and close that down. Finish up these mushrooms and onions, and we'll be back in just a few minutes. All right. So, it's been a good 10 minutes. As you see here, we went ahead and we wrapped up our steaks in aluminum foil to let them rest so that way they don't lose any of their juices, because the juice is the best part. So we're going to take our steak, put it right there, and this is called cutting on the bias. It's a slanted cut. You want to make sure you cut with the grain of the meat to make sure that it stays nice and tender. Alright, so now we got that all cut up, put it right there. I'm going to drain these juices right back on top of that steak. Alright. Here's our asparagus, all nicely done. Get some of these mushrooms and onions and garlic on top of this little steak here. Beautiful little thing. And this little lemons off to the side here. Get a little bit of this asparagus. We're going to throw it right over the top of the steak there. And we want to go ahead and throw a little A little bit of this garlic on there too, because, well, let's just be honest, garlic's good for you. And we're going to take a little slice of lemon, throw it on there as a garnish, and there we go, folks. Ribeye steak, loaded mashed potatoes, and asparagus.